What's going on?
He's no Sterling K. Brown, but let me introduce you to today's COVID commencement speaker, Joe Deal. You may recognize him from his wonderful performance in Ungrateful Kids 1 and 2.
Little late, Sophia, little late.
Thank you.
What's he wearing exactly? Wait. So,
Oh my god!
tie boy man.
Tybo Master.
Okay, wait, hang on.
All right, greetings to the Stanford Class of 2020. And to the students, faculty, parents, friends, and alumni who are joining us today. Congratulations! It's a great honor to be with you today in this unprecedented moment in time for the most unusual of commencement ceremonies. You've worked hard to earn the right to wear your cap and gown. Do the wacky walk across Stanford Stadium with your friends. Shake hands with deans and professors and collect your diploma. Your family deserves to bear witness to this moment too. To know all their years of hard work, sacrifice, and tuition payments were worth it. But giving up this Stanford rite of passage is hard and comes at a time when many others are going through much worse. Some of you may be feeling guilty of the thousands of lives lost to COVID, the millions of jobs lost in the economy, and the many black lives lost unnecessarily because of racism and injustice. It's good that you're paying attention to all those who are hurting, but that shouldn't mean that your pain doesn't count, that the diminishment and disappointment that you may feel is any less important. Your sadness about missing out on a proper graduation is probably coupled with feelings of anxiety. Will I be able to find a job? Will it make me happy? Should I go to graduate school? This may be the first time in your life where you had to ask yourself these questions. Because up to now, for many of you, your life has been largely defined for you, not by you. Your days, months, and years were meticulously manicured, optimized for maximum accomplishment and minimal FOMO.
It's true.
Your identity, too, was defined for you. You were the nerd or the teacher's pet. Others projected expectations on you to be a doctor, a lawyer, or the next tech entrepreneur.
It's true.
This identity is particularly pronounced at Stanford, where freshmen are often asked, "So, what's your thing?" Which, in some cases, could be answered in a Wikipedia biography. 4 years later, we hope you have had a chance to define your own identity, written by you. You are graduating from a great university, and with that comes high expectations. Throughout your life, you have been setting yourself up for high expectations. He's going to do great things, I'm sure you've heard. Or, can't wait until you win that Academy Award or Nobel Prize. Now you need to grapple with a simple but dreaded question. So, what's next? In this moment where you're still wandering, lost in the desert, it's only natural for this ambiguity to haunt your identity. Who am I? What do I do now? To answer this question, consider three things, which I've captured in the acronym ERA. First, look to your education for an answer. And by education, I don't mean just what happened under the Spanish-tiled buildings of Stanford. As I'm sure you can attest, some of your most important learning occurred outside the classroom, whether it was reciting lines of Shakespeare in a summer camp, hearing the stories of civil rights icons while walking the streets of Mississippi, or pushing a congresswoman's wheelchair in D.C. To understand who you are, find meaning from these educational experiences. If you studied STEM, design and build solutions that help, cure, and enrich the lives of others. Students in humanities can use their voice to inspire and create a more just world. Artists help stir the moral imagination of a nation, to expose what needs to be seen, and ultimately to reveal the truth. Education, after all, is what's left after you've forgotten everything you've learned. After education, the second thing to help answer who you should become is reflection. This is a unique moment in your life, as well as in our collective history. There's no better time to be reflective. What exactly do I mean by this? There's a design concept known as thinking like a tourist. It's that phenomenon when you travel to a foreign land and you notice things that the locals take for granted. In moments like this, when chaos strikes, we all become tourists in our own lives. We start to see with fresh eyes, and when we do, you begin to see the green shoots of opportunity, the solidarity brought through kindness and empathy, and realize that the world really does have endless possibilities. The world you see is a choice. Some have made the claim that the class of 2020 is cursed. It began with the inauguration of Trump and ended with a global pandemic and racial strife. But others can choose a more charitable view, that what lies before you is an opportunity to look at the world differently, free of cynicism and despair. The noted philosopher and cyclist Ali Love noted that 2020 is not cursed, but rather a blessing, a moment that brings clarity in a world often blinded by the banality of injustice and inaction. Use this moment in your life to think about what is true, what is valuable, unencumbered by the weight of expectations or the burdens of school or work. You can use this moment to reflect and think about who you are and the role you choose to play. Greatness does await you if you choose it. The third and final consideration is to think about action. 5 years ago, in your Stanford application, many of you stated the desire to change the world. You were genuinely filled with confidence, hope, and a sense of wonder and possibility. I hope these 4 years have inspired and focused that idealistic spirit. The situation around you may dampen that energy, but you are too young and too smart to be cynical or play to the politics of fear and anger. In this moment in history, we as a nation and a world are so desperate for leadership. We cannot look to septuagenarians to save us. We need to look to a new generation of leaders, to you. And never before have we had a generation more aware, connected, and compassionate as your generation. We older folks look to you with awe and hope that you will find a way when we, disappointingly, could not. We are so proud of who you are and look with great anticipation to who you will become. But action requires courage. Action requires leadership, organization, and mobilization. Action requires much more than just liking an Instagram post or shaming people on Twitter. It requires you to get up from behind that screen and face the problems of our world head on, sometimes at great personal cost. Where in this crowd of distinguished graduates will we find the next John Lewis, Brian Stevenson, or Amy Beale? How will you change the world? If you approach this moment as one of opportunity and possibility, I promise you that many years from now, you will look back at this year with fondness and great clarity, because hindsight is 2020. Congratulations to the Stanford Class of 2020, and good luck.
Woo!